Hello, everyone. How you doing? This is podcast number 2, and we're a day away from my playoff game. This is a big weekend for me too, because I've got on my Clemson. I got on my Clemson gear right now. I've got Clemson on Monday night, and I have Dallas's first playoff game on the wild card round on Saturday. So Saturday is going to be lit. Sunday will be either fun or excruciating. And Monday will be another super exciting day, because look, just for a second, hold on, let me step off and talk about Clemson for a second. We're ready for Alabama. The Clemson Tigers are ready for Alabama. And 3 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? 3 years ago, when Alabama beat Clemson 45-40 in the national championship, it was 4 years ago. Clemson had them beat. If you watch that game and remember that game, Clemson had their foot on the neck of Alabama, and it was fascinating to watch those guys not have any fear of that franchise. Not franchise, basically it's a franchise, but that program they have in Alabama, that the Clemson Tigers were not afraid of them, and it was going toe to toe and was actually beating them. And the Alabama Crimson Tide had to go to Big OJ and who was that? That was Kenyon Drake had that return. And then the onside, it was just like and wonderful, silly, accurate pass. So it was like great play after great play after great play after great play that Alabama did to get back in that game and to win that game versus Clemson. But I told everybody after that game that Clemson was out-programmed. They were out-programmed. Right there at the end, the players were too deep on Alabama. And that talent, like Kenyon Drake, just took over. And they won the game for Alabama because we got out-programmed, because the Alabama program was better than the Clemson program at recruiting, at gaining talent, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to now. And that if there is a margin there, it's very slight. It's very, very slight if there's a margin there. So now, for instance, we're losing our defensive tackle, Lawrence. We lost him for Oklahoma, but we've got monsters behind him. So I mean, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt that much. It might not even be noticeable. We're still going to be after Tua. So Monday night is going to be fantastic. So let me put that on the shelf, and I might make a podcast on Monday and talk about that in depth or whatever. Now, secondly, I want to go around the league for just a second with the Hall of Fame list. It's out for 2019, and there's still no Jimmy Johnson. And that our Darren Woodson, I can see maybe Darren Woodson. I don't know how, Darren Woodson wasn't looked as like a running lock figure back in the days. He was a part of a very good defense, and he was a treasure for us for sure. He's like Romo level, but he actually won rings, if that makes any sense. But Jimmy Johnson, on the other hand, Jimmy Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame. It's just weird looking at that and not knowing that he's not in the Hall of Fame. And the impact, even in that short period of time, the impact that Jimmy Johnson had on the NFL in that short 4-year window with the Cowboys. So I don't understand that. It's like he should do him whenever he gets in, he should do a TO and not show up. Jimmy Johnson, I'm gonna have a party in Dallas with Jerry. We're gonna party. I'll be there. Chango will be there. All right, and now I was thinking about this is like, there are two great players. Pittsburgh has dropped two great players out there, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and we don't need either one of them. But wow, that team is falling apart like that, and and going through that kind of stuff. And I'm bringing this up because I'm so even though I didn't like the trade at the beginning because I didn't know Amari was the beast that he is, but Amari, we're so fortunate to have gotten Amari because we would be all over Antonio Brown right now. We'd be like, oh, please, we got to get Antonio Brown. I'm kind of like that now. You know what I'm saying? Because Antonio Brown is so good and so game-changing, and the will to have wanted him would have been great. But now that we have Amari, I can't. If I had a choice between the two, I got to take Amari. I got it because, even the little stretch that Amari's going through right now that he's not getting any yards or whatever, Antonio Brown would be going through the same thing now and then. But Amari's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. Antonio Brown, there's no telling what he'll be doing. You know what I'm saying? He could be causing trouble in the locker room or tweeting in the locker room, telling Cowboy business, all kind of stuff. Amari Cooper's not going to do that. So if you watch my videos throughout the year, whatever, I'm a big character guy, and character is what we have with Amari Cooper, and that character fits perfectly with Dak Prescott. Because again, we're trying to build a team here. Football is 11 players that come together for a cause. Not the team that has the best individuals that win fantasy football and all that kind of stuff. That's how people's minds get screwed right now. Because I tell you, like for instance, Patrick Mahomes right now, he's put up numbers to win the MVP. He probably should win the MVP, but that don't mean nothing when he goes up against the Ravens defense again. You can't tell the Ravens, hey, you got to let me get at least 2 touchdowns because I'm this league MVP this year. No. If they figure out Andy Reid's offense, then Pat Mahomes is done. So you don't know how much of these players are because of the system, how much they're really good or whatnot. So I don't take much into individual honors because again, it's just like, it's what sportscasters and all that kind of stuff see. And I don't care. I mean, right now they have a list. They listed the top quarterbacks of the league right now, and they had Dak Prescott on NFL.com. They've got Dak Prescott as 18th quarterback in the league, and I'm like, that's hard for me to swallow. For me to think that I would take 17 other quarterbacks before Dak Prescott, and especially when Kirk Cousins was like 12 or 11 or something like that. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like they include everything in the worth of a quarterback except how the wins and losses and how well they win. you know what I'm saying? They put the arm strength and the accuracy and all of this and that, but then win is like underneath all that kind of stuff, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So with that, I will start talking about Dak Prescott, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like to talk about Dak because it's toxic. It's not as toxic as talking about Tony Romo. Tony Romo, I couldn't say one thing negative about Tony, and I get yelled at. And it's kind of the polar opposite with Dak. I can't say anything positive about Dak without being called a Dak lover, whatever that is. I'm a Cowboys lover. That's what I am. I'm a Cowboys lover, and Dak Prescott is my quarterback. And then another thing that I've always said, I had to learn to cope. I had to learn to deal with a quarterback that wasn't of my ilk, wasn't the type of quarterback that I liked with Tony Romo. So I get it with guys who don't like Dak because he's not playing the game, like you think the quarterback position should be played, and putting up all the yards and all that kind of stuff. If that's what you like, and Dak Prescott is not going to do that for you, then I can understand it, because I was wanting a more conservative quarterback from Tony Romo, and someone that would be more of a bus driver and this and that, and wouldn't take as many chances and wouldn't throw so many interceptions, blah blah blah. So hopefully hopefully Dak Prescott can evolve into half the passer that Tony Romo was, while being the same careful, methodical, type of quarterback he is. Because again, I don't care about him being better than anybody. I'm not here to champion him as like, oh, Dak Prescott is better than all these people. But the way this whole thing fits together, I think Dak Prescott is a crucial part of it. But right now, they're saying who's more important, Dak or Zeke or whatever. Of course, Zeke is more important. There's never an argument saying who's more important, Dak or Zeke, when Dak is more important than Zeke. Zeke is more important. Zeke is important to everything. The whole thing is a whole different thing without Zeke. Period. But Dak Prescott right now is his time to show what he's worth. You know what I'm saying? Since he does not put up the Pat Mahomes type stats and do things like highlights, like crazy highlights every week. He has some good highlights though. Dak does have some good highlights, but he doesn't put up those great highlights every week and do all this kind of stuff because that's not his MO. Dak Prescott wants to win. And if in any more indication than last week in that meaningless football game, you saw Dak Prescott playing like it was like we had to win that game to keep on moving on in the playoffs. He was playing at that level. So that's his focus. And I love that because I don't want to win my fantasy team. I don't even play fantasy no more. I don't want to win my fantasy team with Dak Prescott. I want to win real things with Dak Prescott. I want to win real Super Bowls with Dak Prescott. I want to do that kind of things. I don't want to brag about how many yards he's got and how many this and that. I don't care about bragging about him. I want to win. And so right now in these playoffs, right now in these next few games, he is going to have to show us that no matter what happens, he can keep this thing going the way it's supposed to be going. He can keep it cool because that's what happened the first time. First time he didn't play bad when Aaron Rodgers did that Aaron Rodgers thing. And hold on, let's take a second to even though the Philadelphia Eagles are in the playoffs and we might have to deal with them, just take a second and breathe that we definitely do not have to deal with the team that has kicked us out of the playoffs for the last two times. And excuse me, not the team, the player, Aaron Rodgers, that put us out of playoffs the last two times. So I'm very happy to see that. But Dak Prescott right now is going to have to win these games at the end. He's going to have to show us that he can go from this game to this game to this game in a high pressure situation and get us to that Super Bowl. And if he does that, and I'm at the beginning of the season, I said a deep run. And I'm still right there with a deep run. With a deep run in the playoffs, I'm ready to give him his money. He pretty much earned a contract last week, to be honest. But he has to really stink up the joint, and just he has to stink up the joint versus Seattle and be the reason why we lose. To say, oh my gosh, we have problems. Let's just sign him for a year. Let's just do the year thing with Dak Prescott right now. But if he takes us to, the divisional and especially to the conference championship, then he's shown how much he's worth, because that's the bottom line of this thing. We're trying to win football. We're trying to win football games, and we're trying to win Super Bowls. It hasn't happened in a long time. It hasn't happened in a real long time. A real long time. So if we have a player that can do that, then we pay that player and then we build upon that or whatever. The Amari Cooper and Dak, the potential is crazy. And if we can bring in a better offensive coordinator, I mean, we all want that. I mean, I'm sorry, it's Scott Linehan. We all want that. If we can bring in a clever, young Madden playing offensive coordinator that can get the best out of Dak, that can do some strange things to offense that people don't know, that would be awesome. Because then you can imagine having an offense similar to Kansas City, but then having Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Ooh. Let me say that one more time. Can you imagine having a scheme like that in Philadelphia or Kansas City, but with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield? That is ridiculous. So, I mean, we all want that, and let's if Scott Linehan can take us there to the Super Bowl or whatever, then the formula is right. The formula is right. But right now, I know we all want a little bit better from that position. We all want a little bit better. All I've said good about Dak. He's great. I'm saying great, but he's. I like him. I like the way he plays. The 14. He has 14 game-winning drives in 3 years. 14 games. I mean, that's insane. Romo. Let me put this in perspective. Romo has 29 game-winning drives, and Dak Prescott has 14 already in 3 years. So he's a winner. He is a winner, and this is where he's going to have to prove that he can win on that next level, because that means so much. That means so much. That's what Romo would never prove that he could do. He couldn't lead the team to wins on that next level. But with all that being said, and I built all that up, if we have to depend on Dak Prescott, we are in trouble. If this game comes down to where Dak Prescott is throwing 35, 40, 45 times, we're in trouble. And that's for a lot of reasons. Because if Dak Prescott has to throw that many times, if we're relying on Dak, then something ain't working. Either we're not calling the right plays or not running plays. I saw somewhere yesterday where Ezekiel Elliott has like some of the least amount of touches inside the red zone. That's utterly ridiculous. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott should have the most carries inside the red zone easily. I mean, if just think about it. If he had the most, then play action is just like child's play inside. But we cannot depend on that. We have to go with our formula. We have to go with our formula, because if Dak Prescott is throwing all around the game and all around the field and all that kind of stuff, that means we're doing something wrong. And we're probably spending our defense too. And that last week versus the Giants, I kind of explained how not having Ezekiel Elliott in that game hurt our defense tremendously, because they were out on the field a lot longer. I mean, just having those drives when Zeke gets like three first downs running, that is an eternity for a defensive player to sit down, to get his legs back, to when they get back out on the field, they're just like completely just 100% aggressive. So it has to happen. And I'm gonna say something really. It's gonna be music to you Cowboy fans' ears. Not music. It's just gonna feel good to your ears when I say this. Listen. The Dallas Cowboys finally have an identity. For how many years have we been saying, man, what is this team's identity? What do we do? What do we do? Blah blah blah. We have a deadly formula. And I have to give a lot of credit to Jason Garrett for putting this thing together. That's why I haven't said a bad word about Jason Garrett for a good minute. because he deserves credit for putting together this ridiculously deadly formula that if we adhere to it, if we stay there inside of this formula, there's no telling how far we can go. And it's very simple. It's very simple. Ride 21. Let 4 manage the game and keep your defense fresh. Any other way, if you try to make the defense win the game for you, you're going to lose, because we don't have that type of defense. I know everybody wants to say, "Oh, our defense carried us this season." And I've heard that so much. Our defense carried. Tell Ezekiel Elliott the defense carried the season. Him with all the rushing yards he got. But we don't have that type of defense. But we have a defense that plays absolutely amazing when they're fresh. Same thing with Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott plays within the formula, within the game plan, play action here, do all this, whatever, he puts together a wonderful, wonderful stat line. I love repeating my stat line. My favorite stat line of Dak Prescott, 20 of 24 for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. To my ears, that's like a 500-yard game. So I love our formula. And it all stems from number 21, our best player. You remember when we drafted 21? My YouTube video, I lost my mind. Hashtag, it's over. Because that player is that good. So 21, 4 game managers, and defense attacks. Ooh. It's awesome. It's awesome. So tomorrow I'm gonna make a regular video. I'm just gonna jump off the podcast thing and gonna make a regular video and talk a little bit more about the game and what and other things that's happening. But and the injuries, Tyra, that was my baby girl. I had to tell her, wait a minute, I'll be there in a minute, baby. Tyron Crawford seems to be okay. I'm very interested in the linebacker position. They've had time, and I don't know how. We've seen 57 out there missing tackles and things of the sort, and I want 50 out there. I want 50 out there. I want 50, 55, and 54. And I really hope they figured it out. And anybody, let us know how LVE doing. I hope LVE is doing well. I'm just a little bit worried about him because I want him to be at least 99.9%. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit worried about that. Tavon Austin, I think this game would be a huge thing for Tavon. I'll talk about it more tomorrow, but his ability to stretch the field is going to be imperative because they're going to try to focus on stopping Ezekiel Elliott as much as possible. So Amari Cooper and Tavon Austin and also 13 down the field. And Gallup, please. I don't know whose fault it is with the non-connections with Gallup, but I really hope the Dak and Gallup connection is there now because it needs to happen in this game. I know that Tavon Austin and him are not there because it's that they're just getting back together. I can just hope that one of those connect, but Tavon is going to be there to stretch the field. But 13, 4 to 13, it needs to happen now. They've had time. And then also 13 was able to see 19. You know what I'm saying? And how 19, that's another reason why we got 19. 19 is showing the other guys, the younger guys, how to play the game, which is just All right. About Seattle, again, I'll talk about them. They're going to run on us. They're going to run us. They're good at running. They're not great like us. We're an overpowering run football team. So when we start running, you just there's nothing you can do about it. Seattle, they just run. Even if they're not getting any yards, they still run, and the running backs still run hard. So you still gotta go all out to try to stop them. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they'll kill you with the play action and Russell Wilson. So that's what they do. So you have to be persistent in your stopping of the run, but you still have to have in mind that the play action is coming. Watch out for the deep ball, blah, blah, blah. It's like that. It's like almost like what we do. And our offensive line, the only injury that is really bothering us, I think, is Suafilo. I guess that's how you say his name. One of our better offensive linemen right now is going to probably be out, so we're going to have Connor Williams. And that's I want to say that's bad news because Connor, come on, man. Turn it around for the Cowboy Nation. Everybody's rooting for you. They really are, especially coming from where you came from. Everybody's rooting for you. And the last little bad news is enjoy Coach Ricard, because we've had him for 1 year. He's been very exciting. He's done a great job for our secondary, but there's like 3 teams or so after coaches after him, and I don't know. Maybe he's getting the Rooney rule. Maybe he's getting the Rooney rule around, so they have to interview him. But it's almost a foregone conclusion that Coach Ricard is out of here. So enjoy the secondary. It's going to be different next year. All right, guys. That's it for podcast number 2. I will make a video tomorrow morning, and it's game time, guys. Tomorrow, when you lay down and open up your eyes tomorrow, it's gonna be on. All right, guys. I'll holler at you. Have a good one. Peace out.